Okay, another day. So I've been, one of my favorite mentors is a young man named Brendan Burchard. And he wrote this really, I think it was his first book, and it's called The Motivation Manifesto, 9 Declarations to Claim Your Personal Power. And I started to reread parts of it at the beginning of January. And there's a section in here that I think what I would like to do is for the next, 6 classes. So maybe like the next 6 Thursdays, I am going to read from this book, and basically this one chapter is really, really powerful. It talks about, it actually starts very yogic in terms of paying attention to all the different roles that we have, right? That we have, that we should sort of honor in our lives. And there's my husband coming home. You can hear the dogs. So as I read from this today, I want you to start in child's pose. And I don't want you to get into child's pose immediately. I really want you to take your time getting down. So whether your knees are apart or together, don't start laying all the way on the floor. Maybe start here with your hands, just on the mat, and then slowly coming down onto forearms, taking your time here, maybe even using a block, and then maybe stacking forearms, and then finally releasing all the way down. So use this time as I read to really let yourself settle in that way, and not just plop in. So he talks about being fully present in life not only means being observant and unfailing in addressing our realities, but also deciding to proactively choose our roles and behavior each day. I love that. The first role we can play in our lives is observer. We talk about this a lot in yoga, or the conscious viewer. This is the role and responsibility we are charged with through the gift of self-awareness. As observer, we can float above our reality and view the totality of who we are in life and the minutiae of how we are acting and reacting in the very moment. It is not a detachment from ourselves or the moment, but rather a careful observance of it. Those who have mastered this role can make a decision and almost simultaneously evaluate whether or not it is the right decision. They can sense themselves doing, feeling, and thinking things, and know if these things are authentic. They notice when they are making poor decisions, being rude to others, forgetting something important, right? So we're on the mat, and we're breathing, and we're observing ourselves and how we feel, and what's going on in our body at this space and time. So we're developing a discipline that we can take off of the mat and then into our lives. They can sense a conflict brewing and feel their anger lifting, yet choose not to act on that anger. It is as though they have this internal dialogue. Oh, I see that I'm becoming upset in this situation. Why am I reacting this way? Will anger serve me in this moment? If I were responding at my highest self, what would I say to myself right now? We can learn to master this role by practicing self-examination. So, as Brendan suggests several times throughout the day, we can ask ourselves, if I stopped and hovered over my life, what do I see myself doing? And why do I think I'm doing that? Why am I feeling what I'm feeling right now? What result will happen from my current actions and intentions? What is it I can sense in my body and my mind and my spirit? Truly feel a need and desire right now. When we grasp this idea of sensing ourselves, we become more connected to ourselves and our lives. This must be our goal. So again, I just love that synergy, right, of the yoga practice and our life. and being able to use that practice, use our practice to take us off the mat as observers of our life. All right, so that's enough in this child's pose. Hopefully those arms are stretched over the head. Maybe even take a little side to side action with the hips or with the rib cage, right? Just a little organic movement here. And then we're gonna inhale, take ourselves up onto hands and knees. So finding that nice tabletop position, right? We want to press down with the hands. We want to feel how those collarbones are expanding. Press down into the shin. So we're nice and active here, yeah? And then we're just going to kick our right ribs out to the side. So we're stretching into that right side body. And then we're going to draw the belly in and up, rounding the spine and dropping the chin. And then as we move over to the left, yeah, our head can come back to neutral. We draw those left ribs over. And as we come through center, we look up and we drop down so that those sits bones are moving up towards sky, right? So we're in our cat tilt. And we're just going to continue just like that to the right, letting those right ribs go, and then pulling up into that cow, over to the left, and back to center. Keep going just like that. So we're doing a barrel roll, right, with our torso. We're being super mindful. We're finding all the parts and pieces, a little bit of an organic movement here. How do we feel? One more time, and then come back to that neutral spot in tabletop. And then, of course, you want to take it in the opposite direction. So send those left ribs over to the left, right? And then we draw the belly in and up, over to the right, and then through that cat tilt. Again, over, up, side, and hips and sits bones up. Keep going. Maybe you can even start matching a little bit of your breath in here if that feels good to you, yeah? Couple more rounds. And then again, coming into that neutral spine, we're going to tuck those toes under and send those hips up towards the sky in our first downward facing dog. So again, making it organic, right? Really letting the body dictate what does it need and then do that. So pedaling out the feet or shaking of the head, right? Lots of things you can do here. Maybe you just want to be in stillness and just evaluate what's happening. Can you release the shoulders? Can you soften the breath? Can you soften the throat? Right? Can you let those heels melt down to the ground? And then as you're ready, maybe a slight bend in the knees if that feels good to you, walking your hands back to the back of the mat, hanging over in a forward fold, Uttanasana. Those feet are nice and wide, yeah? Press out through the outside edges of the feet. Engage up through the thighs. Again, releasing that neck. Look up with the drishti, up into those hip points. And then bending the knees, walking our hands forward again, coming into our downward facing dog. Let's walk our hands back, hanging over. And again, taking it forward on our inhale, downward facing dog. We're going to do that one more time. Take those hands back. Nice big stretch through the back of the legs. Lift the belly in and up and then draw the chest closer to the knees. And then walk those hands back out, downward facing dog. Come up onto those tippy toes, bend the knees. Maybe you can hop to the front of the mat or step. Finding that standing forward fold at the top of the mat. Bend into the knees and inhale, Utkatasana chair. So dropping into those hips, arms extending up over the head, big breath. Inhale, stretch those arms up towards sky. And then exhale, swan dive over those feet, standing forward fold. Draw the chin into the chest, look up. We're going to bend the knees here and then step that left foot far back. So we're coming up into a lunge here, yeah? So set that up. I want you to square off those hips and then inhale, arms up over the head, So we're setting up here, right? We're drawing that left hip forward, dropping that sits bone down. Arms are up, big breath here. Imagine you have a string coming out from your sternum, right? Lifting you up, drop into that front knee. Try to keep those arms extended without any bends in the elbows. And then we're going to bring those palms to heart center. Take a hinge forward and then step that left foot up to meet the right. We're back in our Tadasana mountain pose at the top of the mat. Take a deep breath in, arms reach up, look up, exhale. Swan or dive over those legs, again, standing forward fold. Bend those knees and find chair, Utkatasana. And then inhale, come to stand. Exhale, dive over those legs, bend the knees, step that right foot back, coming into a high lunge on the other side, right? So dropping into that knee, squaring off those hips, lifting through the sternum, arms nice and strong here. Press back through that back heel. And then bringing those palms to heart center, hinging forward. We're going to step that right foot up to meet the left. There's Willie. Coming to stand again at the top of the mat. Good. From here, we're going to inhale, reach those arms up, take hold of that left wrist with the right hand. Big inhale here, exhale, tilt to the right. So a little bit more weight into that left foot, kick that left hip out. Open up that chest, right? We want to roll forward. Inhale, come through center, take hold of the opposite arm. Exhale, big stretch. And inhale, back up through center, good. We're gonna go ahead and bring those hands together again at heart center and hinge from the hips. Find your standing forward fold, bend the knees. I want you to take it back to a plank. You can hop back or you can step back. And then on your exhale, go ahead and melt all the way to the floor. Let that forehead come down. Bring those feet together. Lift the kneecaps, but not the feet. The hands are going to be up underneath the shoulders. Shoulder blades draw down the back. And then on your next inhale, lift your head, find a little baby cobra here. I really want you to hold in your baby cobra. Your gaze is forward. Right, you're lifting those kneecaps up, you're pressing those toes down. You feel those shoulder blades moving together on your back. And your arms are working. Now, as you're holding here, see if you can't lift your fingers away from the floor. Got to work a little bit more into that low back. And then exhale, good. Go ahead and release all the way down. We're gonna go ahead and make our way up through table or plank. And press it back to downward facing dog. Take 5 breaths here in down dog. Notice, observe. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? There's no right or wrong. Then your next breath, bend the knees, make your way to the top of the mat. Standing forward fold. Bend the knees, shift your weight back. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Sit a little bit deeper this time. And inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, swan dive over the legs, bend the knees, step that left foot back. And we're going to turn those back toes down. So we're going to come into a warrior 2, yeah? So you can cartwheel or just walk your hands up your legs, finding a nice warrior 2. Make sure that right knee is tracking to the right towards the pinky edge side of that foot. Press into that back part of that left foot, right? Our arms are nice and straight, no bending. Our gaze is over our front fingers. Now, if you want to like unbend that front leg a little bit and then rebend it, Just to see if you can't come in a little bit deeper, you're always welcome to do that, right? A little bit of movement here is okay. Check with your chest, right? We want ourselves nice and centered, right between our hips. Feel that warrior. I want you to feel it. That strength here, right? We're warrior women stepping out into our lives. All right, take that arm back and over, finding that nice stretch here in our reverse warrior. Maybe you can even like look back at your back foot or up and down just to release the neck. And coming back through warrior two, yeah? We're gonna go ahead and take our hands down to the floor and we're gonna come into a low lunge here. So bring that left knee to the floor and we're just gonna shift our hips forward. So we're stretching our chest forward, right? Like there's a string again coming out of our sternum, coming forward here. And then slowly walk your hands back. Send your hip back and go ahead and lift those right toes up. So we're finding our half Hanumanasana. And if you're here and you're like, this is tough for me, grab your blocks. Your blocks are gonna be your friends, right? So take those blocks here and place your hands up. So it's like we're bringing the floor up to us, right? We're gonna lift that toe. We're gonna drag that heel back energetically as that left hip comes forward. Again, we're finding that nice flat back. Our gaze is forward. We're feeling a nice stretch here. And we're just gonna move rhythmically. So if you have the blocks, it's okay to take them with you, yeah? Go ahead and step on that right foot. Inhale, open the chest. Even your gaze, your eyeballs can look upward. And then exhale, take it back. Walk those blocks back or your hands back. So you can even traction your hands back towards your back foot. Again, feeling that chest opening just a little bit more. How are you feeling? Observe it. And then again, stepping onto that front foot, open the chest. So we're working into that right hip. Yeah, take it back. This is the last time. Nice full deep breaths right here. Good, and then step on that front foot. If you use the blocks, you can take them off to the side. Bring your hands alongside the front foot, tuck the back foot. And we're gonna find a twist. So left hand down, right arm reaching up towards sky. Maybe over the head. Maybe you want to place it behind your head, like where the skull and the neck meet. The elbow pointing upward. And then bring that right hand down. Step that right foot back to meet the left. We're in downward facing dog. Inhale, flow through. Find your strong plank here. Exhale onto the knees and melt all the way to the floor. Forehead touches down. Hands up underneath the shoulders, yeah? Lift the kneecaps, not the feet. Inhale. Find your baby cobra and hold. Feel your strength here, right? Doesn't matter how high you go. Observe what's happening. Can you lift those fingers? Exhale, release the forehead to the floor. Again, tuck your toes under, press up through table or plank, and back into downward facing dog. Lift those sitting bones high. Gaze up with your eyeballs at your hip creases if you can. Send those heels, right, melting them, magically dissolving them behind your toes so you can't really see them. And then bending the knees, look forward, step hopper, jump to the top of the mat, standing forward fold. Bend the knees, shift your way back, chair pose in Utkatasana. Come down a little bit lower. Holding a little bit longer. And inhale, rise all the way to stand. Exhale, swan dive over the feet. Bend the knees, step that right foot back. Come down onto that back heel. And again, make your way into your warrior two on the other side, yeah? Find that drishti over those front fingers. Really feel those hips as they open up. So it's good to hang out in the pose, right? Because this way we can really investigate what is our grounding legs doing, right? How deep is our bend? How are our hips feeling as we open up? Where is our chest in all of this? And then again, reversing the warrior, maybe you need a little bit of a head turn. And then taking it back to our warrior two. Good, come down a little bit lower, bring those hands to the floor. And drop that back knee. So we're gonna come into our lunge here, right? Our left foot is forward, but we're still trying to square off those hips, right? So pull that right hip forward, left hip back. And again, maybe you want those blocks. And then slowly we sit back. We lift that front foot. Those hands can come back towards the hips. Keep working that right hip forward. Again, imagining that strength coming out of the sternum, soften the throat. And then inhale, let's take it forward. Let that gaze lift, shoulder blades melt down the back. Get heavy in those hips. Exhale, walk it back, toes up. And again, let's take it forward. And back. And this time as we come forward, yeah? Let's move those blocks off to the side. Hands come alongside the foot. We lift that back knee and twist. So again, you decide what's working for you, right? We're sending a lot of energy out through that back heel. Maybe the arm comes over the head, parallel with the ear. Maybe you want to work on a little more chest opening. So you take the hand back behind your neck and you look up. Or just let that hand go straight up towards the sky. And then release the hand, step that left foot back to meet the right, downward facing dog. Inhale, take it forward into plank, exhale onto the knees, and roll all the way down. This time we're gonna bring our hands back. Palms are gonna face down. And we already feel those shoulder blades moving down the back here. And then inhale, peel the head and chest up. You can stay right here, maybe you can lift the legs. Keep reaching those fingers back for those back feet. Building strength. Exhale and release. Let those hands come up underneath the shoulders. We're going to press up through table and find a pit stop in child's pose. So let those hips move to the heels. Arms can stay up over the head or they can come alongside the body. And just let yourself have a few minutes here. Few breaths. Come back to the present moment. Come back to being that observer. How are you feeling? What are you thinking? How's the breath? Where are you tonight? How can you be more conscious? How can you be in your body but not in your body at the same time? Interesting question. All right. Coming up onto hands and knees, let's tuck those toes under. Sit those hips up in this air, finding our downward facing dog. Bend the knees. Maybe you hop again to the top of the mat. Standing forward fold. Try to come down a little bit further this time, yeah? Lift that belly in and up. Feel how you can do that. Stretch through those ribs. And then bending into the knees, inhale, Utkatasana chair. Let's hold this one a little bit longer. Drop into those hips, lift the chest. Notice what's happening in your shoulders. Are your shoulders tense? Can you release them? If the arms up is too much, you can always bring them in prayer, yeah? Squeeze those inner thighs together. Squeeze your knees together. Really feel that you're pulling that belly button up, 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 up. And then inhale, rise all the way to stand. Good. Just for a minute here, let's bring the palms together, the heart center, close the eyes. Press outward through your feet. Good. And then opening the eyes, just go ahead and release your hands alongside the body. We're going to come into tree pose now. So we're just going to come up onto the ball of the right foot. Turn your toes out. Yeah, you can stay here. You can bring your foot to the calf. You can lift it all the way up inside that left upper thigh. Wherever you choose, right? I want you to make sure that your foot is not on your knee, and two, that you're working towards really driving that right knee out and back. And then maybe you explore your arms up, or staying in prayer, or maybe goalpost arms, opening up the chest a little bit. Right? Ask your body, what does it need? What does it want? What does it crave? And then we'll slowly bring our hands to heart center. Bring that right leg forward. Send that heel out, point the toe, flex the toe, point the toe. Last time, flex and release. Good. Try not to move. Find stillness. Find the breath. Find the peace. And then shifting, it's hard not to move, isn't it? You want to move, right? You want to adjust, you want to shake it out. See if you can just keep that stillness going here. Shift the weight to the right. Come onto the ball of the left and turn the toe out. Again, find the position of your leg that's most comfortable for you tonight. Work at sending that knee back. Work at that Uddiyana Bandha, right? That lifting in and up of that pelvic floor. And then as you're ready, those arms extend up. Let your drishti be on something in front of you that's not moving. And maybe you can even explore observing yourself right here, right? As if you were hovering over yourself in the stillness. And slowly bring those palms together at heart center, lift the chest, bring that knee forward. Send that heel out in front of you like you're pressing it into a wall, point, and flex. Feel that thigh burning. And release. Good. Try not to move. Close the eyes. You can do it. And then open the eyes. Inhale. Arms reach up towards sky. Exhale. Arms out to the side. Over as we swan dive. Forward fold. Bend the knees. Step that left foot far back. Come onto that back heel. And then inhale again, finding your warrior two. Nice full deep breaths here. Reversing the warrior, right? We've been here before. And then taking it back to warrior two. Now we're going to straighten that front leg, yeah? We're going to reach that arm forward, finding Trikonasana triangle. So take that right hand inside that right leg, left arm reaches up. Or you can again put it behind your head. Or maybe you keep it on your sacrum and you sort of sexy roll that shoulder open. If your hand has to be up here for Trikonasana, that's okay, right? If you want to grab your block, if that feels better to you, and you would rather have the block for your hand to come into this position, right? The work here, of course, that hip is rolling forward, but that work here is to really stretch that chest open, finding that nice strong spine, pressing out through that back foot. So you decide. Good, bending into that front leg, find your warrior two. Come onto the ball of the back foot. High lunge. Exhale, hands come to the floor. We step the right foot back to meet the left in downward dog. Inhale, find your plank. Exhale, knees to the floor, melt all the way onto the belly. Forehead touches down, hands alongside the body, palms facing down. Inhale, peel the head and chest up. Now the feet, maybe the hands reach back off of the mat. And exhale, release. Hands come up underneath the shoulders. Tuck the toes, press up through table or plank into your downward facing dog. Looking forward, come up onto the tippy toe, step, hop, or jump to the top of the mat. And our standing forward fold. Bend the knees, chair pose, Utkatasana. We've been here before. And come to stand. Exhale, swan dive over the feet, bend the knees. Step that right foot back. And come into your warrior two on the other side. Reversing the warrior. And finding warrior two, straighten the front leg. Reach with that left arm. And again, find your triangle on the other side where we're gonna stay. So again, make sure you're somewhere where it's comfortable, right? Again, if you need that block, take it. If your arm is up here, great. Just open up that chest. Find that perfect placement of that right arm where you can really feel that chest opening. Maybe you even play a little bit with the neck if you feel like you're straining slightly. Your choice. Find your way. Bend into that front knee, slowly come up. Finding your warrior two, sweep that right arm up. High lunge. Exhale, hands come to the floor. Step that left foot back to meet the right. Downward facing dog. Again, inhale, flow forward into your plank. Exhale, onto the knees, untuck the toes. Come all the way down onto the belly. Let those hands come alongside the body. And then as you're ready, maybe you lift everything at the same time. Try to keep those toes touching. Little space in the heels is okay. Exhale, slowly release. Hands come underneath the shoulders, press up through table or plank, and we're back into our downward facing dog. Nice, full deep breaths in your down dog. If you're tired and you need a break, please take a child's pose. Breathe deeply. All right, look forward, make your way to the top of the mat. You know where we're going. Bend those knees. Find your chair. Whew. Sit down. Feel that energy, press. Drop that, tuck that tailbone slightly. And then inhale, come to stand. Exhale, swan dive over the feet, bend the knees, step that left foot back. So we're gonna drop into that back heel. We're gonna keep that front knee bent. Again, you may want the block. We're actually coming into triangle again, but we're coming from the floor this time, right? So we're already starting with our chest facing downward. So we have to begin to open up, right? So the first thing we do is, again, if your hand is on the block, that's great. If your hand is on the floor, right, just come up onto those fingertips. Take that left hand to the left hip and roll yourself open. Begin to straighten that front leg and then slowly start to come up. So I'm inching my arm up my leg. I'm noticing what's happening in my chest. Can I continue that rotation? Maybe the arm stays back here again. Maybe it comes up. Maybe you've done all of that work with the block. And you may actually want the block for what's coming next. So lots of ways to come into our side angle or our triangle here. And of course, that left hip is rotating forward. All right, we're going to make our way into half moon. So I want you to, again, bend into that front leg, look down. You may want the block, or just bring your fingertips to the floor outside your right foot. Yeah? You're going to pop your back foot in, and then slowly straightening that front leg. Try to stack your left hip on top of your right. Now, it's really nice sometimes with the block here, again, because you sort of find yourself kind of in a little bit more of a parallel position, a little bit easier to feel a little bit stronger, safer. Kick out through that heel, lift the belly. Find the breath, gaze at the floor, at the wall in front of you. How are you feeling? Can you be that observer? Now bend into that front leg, hand to the hip, release that foot back, and come into your warrior two. Reverse the warrior, back into warrior two. Yeah, we're gonna come to the floor, and again, find that twist. So right hand to the right thigh, we twist to the right, right arm reaches up, or behind the head, or over the ear. And then release the hands, step back, downward facing dog. Come forward into plank. Come onto the knees and find a child's pose before we come into the other side. So just releasing, relaxing here in child's pose. Right, we have one more side to do. Slowly coming onto your hands and knees, tuck your toes under, find downward dog. Maybe challenge yourself, come up onto the toes, bend your knees. See if you can hop to the front of the mat. Bend into the knees. Find chair, Utkatasana. Inhale, come to stand. Exhale, swan dive over the legs. Bend the knees, we're gonna step that right foot back. Come onto that heel, like we're coming into a warrior two, right? But from the floor. So again, block or no block, different heights. Hand to the inside of the foot. Right hand onto the sacrum. We already noticed that that hip is rolling forward, right? But the work is now to roll our chest open, straighten your front leg. Find triangle from the floor. Nice full deep breaths. Opening up the chest, gaze is lifted. And then slowly bending into that front foot, using the block or just your hands, coming forward. I like to bring my hand back onto my sacrum here. And then finding our way forward and up into our half moon. So we have to find a strength in our standing leg, but a little bit of buoyancy, right? Otherwise, if that leg is, and if you fall out like I just did, that's okay, right? But if that leg is too rigid, you'll find that you'll fall, right? Because the rest of our body is constantly shifting. So we have to be able to modify and find that. Press out through that heel. Find your drishti. This is not my good side tonight. All right, bending into that foot, release and find your way into warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Oh, that should feel really nice. And then bring those hands down. Plant that right hand. Take that twist to the left, open the arm. And slowly release, good. Step that left foot back to meet the right. Inhale, fall forward into your plank. Come down onto the knees, all the way down. So this time, forehead's gonna come to the floor. And And our hands are going to find the sacrum. Our feet are together. And we're just going to put our hands palms face up on our low back. Shoulders draw down the back. Our elbows probably are bent. And then we're going to inhale, lift the head and chest. Maybe the feet. And exhale, release. Good. Take your favorite cheek to the floor here. And let those hands come alongside the body. Just breathe. All right, letting ourselves relax here in this Advasana. Lifting the head, taking it over to the other cheek. Maybe the feet are apart. Sort of relaxing the low back for a minute before we go into our next little back bend. And then bring the forehead back to the floor. Let those feet come together. This time we're going to interlace the fingers. Heels of the hands are apart. Shoulder blades down the back. Lift the kneecaps, not the feet. And on your inhale, as you lift the head and chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together and reach your fingers for your toes or for your heels. You can stay right here, or you can lift your legs. Notice your neck. Maybe you even want to move it a little bit side to side. Let go of tension. Exhale, slowly release. Take your forearms, one on top of the other, and then just let your forehead rest. On your forearms. All right, hands come up underneath the hips. We press up to table. Let's do a couple more of those barrel rolls. So shift the ribs to the right. Belly reaches up to the left and forward. Moving to the other side, ribs to the left. Nice little counter to what we just did. Good. And then shift your hips back. Excuse me, take them to one side. So let's sit with our feet forward in our staff pose, Dandasana. Hello, Chewbacca. Did you have supper? All right, so sitting in a nice tall spine here, right? That belly has to be engaged, it has to be online if we're sitting this way. If you want a little bit of leverage, a little bit more help sitting, then what I want you to do is take a blanket, right, if you have it, and you're gonna sit on it, right? So you're gonna just sit up on it and then sort of roll off it. So it's like a little wedge, right? And it's just sort of helping work that prospect, that idea of those hips shifting back, right, as we hinge forward. Now you can decide where your arms want to be. Maybe you're just keeping them back here alongside you. Maybe they're front. Maybe some of you can even reach your toes, right? But with each inhalation, I want you to work on that lifting action. And then on each exhalation, see if you can't draw yourself just a little bit more forward, right? So it's lift and draw forward. Lift and draw forward. And you know when you want to stop. So again, tuning into the breath, close your eyes. Can you visualize yourself and your body in this asana? Toes pointing up to the ceiling. Inner thighs working together. Shoulder blades down the back. And slowly come upright. Good. We're going to open up our legs into a wide position here, right? It doesn't have to be too crazy wide. Whatever's comfortable for you, but let those toes point up. So the first thing we're going to do is turn our torso to the right. So it's maybe take your hands on either side of that right leg. Right, we're still sitting up nice and tall. If you're like, I like that blanket, use the blanket. Twisting. And then again, you decide. So we're just going to fold ourselves over that right foot or right leg. Now don't forget about the left one. And notice that left hip. It may want to lift up off the ground. Try your best to keep it down. If it has to come up a little bit, that's okay. But keep that engagement in that left leg, even though we're twisting over to the right. And then slowly, I want you to come upright. Good. So we're going to square ourselves back off here. But this time we're going to take that right arm and place it as we sort of turn a little bit to the left inside that right leg. Yeah? And then we're going to open up that chest. And maybe that left arm reaches up. Maybe some of you can actually stretch your arm up and over and touch your toe, right, without your chest collapsing down. If you can't do that, don't do that. But the point is, we want to keep that chest lifting. And then slowly inhale, come up through center. Good. Close your feet, find Baddha Konasana. And I like to take my hands and just massage inside my feet for a minute, right? Always just a nice, loving thing to do for self. Into the toes, to the balls of the feet, into the arches, and maybe even up a little bit into the ankles. We'll psych ourselves up for the exciting left side, yeah? All right, maybe that little smile's coming across your face. Good, slowly take those knees back out, sit up nice and tall. Take that chest over to the left, hands alongside that left leg. Big inhale here, and then exhale, start your hinge forward. Remember, toes are pointing up, right? We're actively working the legs. Maybe again, check in with that neck if you feel like you've got any tension. Follow the breath. Let that breath lead you in the pose. And slowly walk yourself back up. Good. Left arm to the inside of that left leg. We twist the body open and start to engage here as that right arm comes up and over the head. Again, if it feels better behind the neck, right, you can always do that. And slowly make your way back upright. Bring those knees back in. This time, we're gonna roll forward, right? So you can keep massaging those feet if you want. And we're just gonna drop the chin into the chest and then just let ourselves roll. So our back is rounded. Breathe here. Nice restorative butterfly, as they call it in yin. And then slowly taking your time, sit up. Close your knees like you close a book. Move that blanket off to the side if you used it. And And then we're just gonna roll down onto our back. So once here, bring those knees into the chest, give them a hug. You can massage the sacrum. You can rock them back and forth or up and down as much as you want. Maybe you make some figure eights with the knees, right? Anything goes, anything that you need. Nice. And then from here, we're gonna bring our feet to the floor and lift ourselves up just enough to place our hands, right? Just on either side of our sacrum. So we feel like we have this little lift, right? Like a little shelf with our thumb. And then again, we're gonna lift our knees and then bring our feet up. So we're finding our way into Viparita Karani, but with our hands rather than a block. And I want you to draw your shoulder blades down, right? Imagine how that sacrum is pressing down while the sternum is lifting. Soften the muscles of the face and the throat. And I just want you to stay here without moving. Close your eyes if that feels good. So beneficial for the body to have our legs up. Notice the texture of your breath. Slowly bring your feet back to the floor. Walk them all the way out to the edges and bring your arms out to goalpost arms. Knees are open wide. We're going to drop the knees over to the left. Once they're there, look over your right shoulder. And if you want, send your right arm all the way up alongside your gaze. Yeah, so that right arm is reaching back behind you. And then let that elbow come back down. Bring the knees back through center. Take a nice deep breath here and then exhale, the knees move to the right. And then the gaze comes to the left. And then maybe you just reach that left arm up. And then begin to take that arm back. Bring the knees back through center. And then just let your legs just fall out so that they're actually maybe even off the mat, nice and wide. You look like a starfish. If this feels good, you can stay just like this for Shavasana, or you can let the arms come down alongside body, palms face up. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, let it go. If you need to take another one, please do. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then let the breath move back into the unconscious, right, where it lives most of the time. We're not worried about the breath anymore. We're letting the body settle into this wonderful, healing, restorative posture, asana of Shavasana. Such an important part of our practice, right? And it's hard for us to allow ourselves to really enjoy this time, but please take it. Let the practice sink in. We'll play some music while you kind of come to this place of peace and of ease. Slowly beginning to bring your attention back to the space. Filling up with your inhales, fully energetically exhaling. Reawakening the body through the breath at first. Stretching the breath. And then slowly making some movements, maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes, maybe even tapping each finger with the thumb. And slowly bending the knees. Let's take the feet back to the floor. As you're ready, if it's evening, you may want to roll to the left, to the right. And if it's morning for you, rolling to the left. Either settling in for the night or getting ready to start the day. And finding your way up to a comfortable seat. Yeah, whatever that looks like for you, up on a pillow or a block. You can be sitting in lotus or half lotus or just letting the legs cross. Bring the palms together at heart center. Lift the sternum slightly. Lift the chin slightly as if the warm sun were sending its rays down, touching your forehead and your cheeks and your chin. And we'll we'll close here with one last breath and we'll end class with an Om. So take a deep breath in, exhale, let it go, and an inhale for Om. Om. Remember to go out into your day being an observer, watching, noticing without judgment, asking questions. Namaste. Thank you.